The lights of the Ireland's Got Talent stage glow softly as the audience settles into their seats, unaware that tonight will become one of those rare moments people remember for years. Simon sits at the judges' table like he always does, calm, experienced, having seen thousands of auditions across the world. He has heard every kind of voice, every story of struggle, every promise of hope. At least that is what he believes before this night begins. The host steps forward and announces the next act. From the side of the stage walks a young man from Cebu City, thin, nervous, wearing worn-out clothes that look like they have seen too many hard days. His shoes are old, his hands tremble, and his eyes keep moving between the judges and the crowd. When Simon asks where he is from, the young man quietly answers Cebu City in the Philippines. He explains that he grew up poor, that he sang on the streets to earn enough money for food, that music was the only thing that made his difficult life feel lighter. Some people in the audience nod with sympathy while others remain unsure. Simon listens, expression neutral, as he has heard stories like this before. The music begins slowly and the young man closes his eyes. When he sings the first note, something shifts in the room. His voice is raw and emotional, not polished but honest. Every word feels heavy with real pain and real hope. The audience grows silent, completely drawn in. Simon leans forward slightly without realizing it. One judge places a hand over her mouth as tears begin to form. The song builds, the young man pouring everything he has into his voice. It is not just singing, it feels like a confession of a life filled with struggle. By the time he reaches the final note, many in the audience are crying openly. The song ends and there is a moment of stunned silence before the entire theater erupts into applause. Simon stands up slowly, his eyes wet, and admits that despite all the auditions he has seen, this one touched something deep. The young man breaks down in tears, overwhelmed, as the judges praise him and the crowd chants his name. Later that night, after the emotions have barely settled, the host introduces another act. This time, two brothers from Manila walk onto the stage. They are young, clearly nervous, holding hands as they stand before the judges. Their clothes are simple and slightly too big, probably borrowed for this one important moment. Simon asks about their background, and one brother explains that they grew up in a slum area, that their parents passed away, and that they sing together to survive and support each other. The audience grows quiet again, sensing another heavy story. Simon nods, still cautious, still professional. The music starts and the brothers begin to sing in harmony. Their voices are not perfect, but together they create something powerful. You can hear years of hardship in their tone, nights spent hungry, days filled with uncertainty. As the song continues, their voices grow stronger, as if singing together gives them courage. One judge begins wiping tears from her face. Another judge closes his eyes, clearly moved. Simon watches closely, his expression slowly changing. Halfway through the performance, the audience starts clapping softly in rhythm, completely engaged. When the brothers reach the emotional peak of the song, their voices crack, but they keep going, refusing to give up. The final note hangs in the air, and once again the room is silent for a heartbeat before applause explodes. People stand up, cheering loudly. Simon remains standing, hands on the table, eyes filled with tears. He speaks honestly, saying that he has seen thousands of auditions, but rarely has he felt such real emotion. He tells the brothers that their performance was not about perfection, it was about truth, and that is what makes it unforgettable. The brothers hug each other tightly, crying, as the judges give them overwhelming praise. As the show continues, the energy in the theater feels different now. People sense that something special is happening tonight. The next act is announced, and a young girl from Davao City steps onto the stage alone. She looks shy, almost scared, her head slightly bowed. She explains softly that she is a dancer, that she grew up poor, practicing on cracked concrete floors without mirrors, without proper shoes, without training. She says dancing helped her escape sadness and fear. Simon listens carefully, his face gentle now, more open than before. When the music starts, the girl begins to move slowly. Her dance tells a story without words. Every movement shows struggle, loss, and hope. She falls to the floor, rises again, her body shaking with emotion. The audience watches in complete silence, many already crying. One judge stands up, unable to stay seated, tears streaming down her face. Simon does not move, but his eyes never leave the stage. The dance becomes more intense, showing pain, rejection, and survival. When the music reaches its end, the girl collapses to her knees, crying. For a moment, no one claps, as if afraid to break the emotional spell. Then the entire theater stands up, applauding louder than ever. Simon slowly rises from his seat, wiping his eyes. He says that this performance reminded him why he started doing these shows in the first place, to find people who turn pain into something beautiful. The judges walk onto the stage and embrace the girl as she cries uncontrollably, overwhelmed by the support. As the show wraps up, the audience leaves knowing they witnessed something rare. Simon sits quietly at the judges' table, reflective, emotional, changed. He admits backstage that even after thousands of auditions, nights like this still surprise him. These were not just performances, they were lives shared openly on a stage. Poor contestants from Philippine cities came to Ireland's Got Talent with nothing but courage and talent, and they left with something priceless: hope, recognition, and a moment that will never be forgotten. The Ireland's Got Talent stage is filled with bright lights and loud cheers, but for Simon this night feels like any other at first. He has seen thousands of auditions across the world, heard countless voices, and listened to endless stories of struggle. When the host calls the next act, a young man walks out slowly from the side of the stage. He looks nervous, his clothes worn and faded, his eyes filled with both fear and hope. Simon asks where he is from, and the young man answers quietly that he comes from Cebu City in the Philippines. He explains that he grew up poor and used to sing on the streets just to earn enough money for food. The audience listens politely, some with sympathy, some unsure of what to expect. The music begins and the young man closes his eyes. His voice comes out soft at first, then grows stronger with every word. It is not perfect, but it is honest. The pain of his life can be heard in every note. The audience becomes silent, completely focused on him. Simon leans forward slightly, surprised by the emotion in the voice. One judge wipes her eyes as tears begin to fall. When the song reaches its final moment, the young man pours everything he has left into his voice. As the last note fades, the theater is silent for a second before erupting into loud applause. People stand up cheering. Simon stands as well, his eyes filled with tears, and admits that even after all these years, this audition touched his heart. The young man breaks down crying on stage, overwhelmed by the moment. After the emotions settle, the host introduces another act. Two brothers walk onto the stage together, holding hands tightly. They are from Manila, and their clothes look borrowed for the occasion. Simon asks about their story, and one of the brothers explains that they grew up in a poor neighborhood, lost their parents at a young age, and learned to sing together to survive and support each other. The audience grows quiet once more. The music starts and the brothers begin to sing in harmony. Their voices blend beautifully, carrying sadness, love, and strength all at once. The crowd listens closely, many already moved. One judge covers her mouth in shock, tears rolling down her cheeks. Simon watches carefully, his expression slowly changing as the song continues. When the brothers reach the emotional peak of their performance, their voices shake, but they keep singing, holding on to each other. The final note echoes through the theater and the audience explodes with applause. People rise from their seats, cheering loudly. Simon stands, clapping, his eyes shining with emotion. He tells the brothers that this was not just a performance, it was a real story told through music. The brothers hug each other tightly, crying in front of the judges and the crowd. Later in the show, the atmosphere feels heavy with emotion, as if everyone senses that something unforgettable is happening. The next act is a young girl from Davao City. She walks onto the stage alone, her head down, her hands shaking. She explains softly that she is a dancer and that she learned to dance on broken concrete floors without training or proper shoes. She says dancing helped her escape sadness and fear. Simon listens closely, his face gentle and attentive. The music begins slowly and the girl starts to dance. Her movements are full of pain and beauty at the same time. She falls to the floor, rises again, showing struggle, loss, and hope without saying a single word. The audience watches in complete silence, many crying openly. One judge stands up, unable to control her emotions. Simon remains seated, but his eyes are locked on the stage, filled with tears. As the music reaches its end, the girl drops to her knees, crying. For a brief moment, no one claps. Then the entire theater stands and applauds louder than ever. Simon stands up slowly and says that this performance reminded him why these shows matter, because they give voices to those who have nothing but their talent and courage. The judges walk onto the stage and embrace the girl as she cries, overwhelmed by the love and support. As the night comes to an end, the audience leaves knowing they witnessed something rare and powerful. Simon sits quietly, emotional and reflective, admitting that even after thousands of auditions, moments like these still surprise him. These performances were not just about talent, they were about real lives, real pain, and real hope shared on one unforgettable stage.